Hi guys. So today's video is going to be on a sensitive subject matter. There's a trigger warning because we're going to be talking about eating disorders, and the goal here is to discuss like recovery and like tips and things that have helped, me, and even just working towards just getting better, because it is such a dangerous and deadly disease. So I didn't even know that the statistics were so severe until I was studying it, because I study psychology at UCSD, and we had a class where they talk about it, and I think there's even a whole class just on the topic of eating disorders. And so we were just discussing how it is the deadliest mental disorder, the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. I think that, the suicide rates are so much higher, than 56 times more likely for people with an eating disorder to commit suicide than those without. It's a very serious disease, and I would just love to make videos that, even if it helped one person, it truly is a matter of life and death for a lot of people all around the world. It is a global issue. It is so disgusting how many corporations and companies who have experts on psychology purposefully induce eating disorders in people in order to sell products, in order to make them feel not good enough. So they have to buy something to lose weight even though they really don't need to. And then they develop disorders where even if you're 90 pounds, you can see yourself as being humongous. It is so devastating. All of the friends I've had who suffer from this are seriously the most beautiful people I've ever come in contact with. Beautiful bodies, amazing. And it's so sad seeing how distorted their perception was of themselves. For me, it's a little different. I want to be upfront because I never struggled with my weight perception. I was never trying to lose weight. Mine's more so health issues, I think, kind of maybe anxiety causing me not to eat very much, growing up not eating super much, and then kind of dealing with trying to figure out how to get nutrients when your stomach is small and you're eating way less calories than you should be. So I just really wanted to share some tips that worked for me, because while I didn't have the mental aspect, I did really struggle, and the process is the same in terms of you have to kind of get your calories up. You have to figure out ways to make sure the foods that you're eating are high in nutrients. So that way, even if it's a small amount, you're still getting needed nutrients. I've noticed sometimes looking at shopping carts that people have, it's a little scary because I think people don't understand what being malnourished is. I didn't until we studied it in school. We're discussing how although Americans don't struggle with starvation, typically, they do struggle with being malnourished, which is interesting. It means they're eating way more than enough, in fact, too much, and yet they're still not getting enough nutrients in their diets. So something I try and think about is, well, even if I'm eating one meal a day, 1.5, I'm gonna try to keep building it up, but if that's how much you can eat, the goal is just making sure that the things you're ingesting are just super foods full of nutrients, trying to get, those things that your body needs to thrive. Of course, calories are important, but, for some people, especially those in the process of you just are recovering, you're just trying to build up, trying to eat again. Aside from therapy, it's really, really important to make sure that, you study nutrition, or at least you have a general understanding of a couple meals that are safe foods for you that you can go back to, if you don't know what to make for the day, easy things. So something I like to do You know, I also struggle with ADHD. It's really hard for me to make meals consistently, and that can be hard. I have other physical issues too, and I think a lot of people in general struggle with that. People who don't necessarily have eating disorders, but they're too either depressed, they just don't have the education on how to cook. And so there's a lot of people under eating. And so even if you're not getting, you know, all the calories you should be, like I'm saying, the important aspect is making sure that when you are eating, it's nutrient dense. There are plenty of foods, like for example, sauerkraut. I have a couple videos on those. It explains how even though eating cabbage is good, because of some of the logistics of probiotics that go into sauerkraut, it makes it more nutrient dense than if you were just eating cabbage. So that's something good to know. There are lots of foods like that. For example, wild blueberries. It has like 10 times the antioxidants, I think, don't quote me on that, I'll look it up, but of a regular blueberry. And regular blueberries are already great. So that's kind of what I really would try to look into, because it's like, okay, sure, I can't eat a ton, but what foods are giving my body more nourishment? It's similar like with turmeric. Turmeric is very good for you, but if you're taking it by itself and it doesn't have black pepper, it's much harder for your body to absorb. So what I'm talking about is making sure that the foods you're eating are easily absorbed into your body, that they can give your body more nutrition, even if it's a small amount. And I'm gonna be posting more about this. I'm gonna be posting, you know, videos that I hope are helpful for anyone that struggles, for anyone who's either busy and they don't have time, for people who are just struggling, like they're trying to find, you know, learn how to cook, people who are trying to grow their stomach and struggling with their calorie intake. So just kind of going over the basics here. This is more like an intro video, and I will be covering it a lot more. So, you know, comment if anything's helpful for you guys, comment if you have any questions, comment what worked for you. It's really important that we share this with other people who are struggling, because life is crazy. This is life or death. I know I said it earlier, but this is serious stuff. And we need to do everything we can to help others who are struggling with these kinds of issues. To me, that's what life's about. It's like, even when you're gone, what kinds of things are you doing that could help people, you know, for however long to come? I think videos are awesome because people can reference back. Even just learning about the nutrient dense things. There's so many videos I've watched that help me. And I just think it's really important. So it's something I'll be talking about more. As a little like intro, I'm just gonna be talking about some of the things I really like. So miso soup is so easy to make. It's full of lots of nutrients. It's awesome. It's easy to digest. I find it very hard to have an appetite, especially in the morning. So something I like to do is I will have more liquid-based foods. I like protein powder. A lot of them have some questionable ingredients, and I've also talked about that before. But there are some great ones. And one I really like that I haven't found anything bad about yet is, I think it's PB Fit, and they have it for a great deal at Costco if you have a Costco membership. And the awesome thing about that is it doesn't have that many calories. That's not the awesome part. Although it doesn't have that many calories, it's really high in protein and very easy to digest. Very, you know, you can have it if you're not feeling that well. It's just liquid. I blend it with collagen. I also get from Costco because it's a bit more cost effective there. I try to get it on sale. I think it's usually like $30. I try to get it when it's on like the $22 sale. I'll stock up a little bit. But it's so helpful because all I do is I put it in a blender, so it's, you know, completely blended. But I mean, even when there's little bits of chunks, they do taste really good. I think it's just like peanut butter, if you like peanut butter. And so I'll drink that, and in total, all of the calories aren't that high. It's 40 grams of protein. And that was something I was struggling with. I don't think I would have 40 grams of protein in like a week. It was so hard for me. So even just starting your day with something like that, it would help tremendously. It's great too. I notice, like, even when I want to eat and I have no appetite, I really struggle. So many people take ADHD medicine, stimulant, they give appetite suppressants, you know, and people who want to eat. And so that's where I was at. And I found that doing something like that in the morning really helped later on stimulate my appetite. And it's not every time, but it's helpful. And so just even little things like that. So another thing for me that was so helpful was seeds. It may sound totally random and on some hunting and gathering type of beat, but it was so helpful. And I'll do more videos breaking it down, talking about the nutrients and the protein and all of those things. But when you can't eat and you're struggling, something that has so much protein, it's high in nutrients, it's amazing. It's so simple. Chia seeds, you just mix in water. Hemp seeds, I would take like shots. I would just take the scoop and swallow it with water. I didn't really like the taste. But again, 3 teaspoons of that had 10 grams of protein and so many other nutrients. It was a lifesaver for me. And the same with flaxseed. It needs to be grounded up to get the nutrients. I didn't know that for a while. And I will do more videos about these things. But just going over the basics. These things help me so much. Even adding things like mint, putting it in water, drinking tea, just trying to make sure I'm getting antioxidants and all of these different types of things. It was all tremendously healthy and helpful for where I was at. And it's been an amazing help. And that's just my experience, things that helped me. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and anyone that listens. And again, even if this has 1 view and it just helped one person, that's my main goal. I'm going to be continuing to talk about this. I know I mentioned I'll make other videos. So any comments, any subscribes, I appreciate it tremendously. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me. So until next time, thanks guys.